Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to the Bullying Reported Please podcast. I am your hostess, E. Jones Blacksher. Today, we're diving into a topic that is very difficult for me to even talk about, but it is so important that we do. Suicide awareness and prevention. September is recognized in the United States as the National Suicide Prevention Month. Every year, unfortunately, hundreds of thousands of lives are lost to suicide, leaving behind grieving families, friends, community. But even more heartbreaking is the fact that many of these tragedies are preventable with the right support, understanding, and actions. In this episode, we'll be discussing the warning signs, risk factors, and most importantly, providing you with some resources available to help those that are in crisis. We want to foster an open, honest conversation about mental health and how we as individuals and as a society can make a difference. Whether you're tuning in because you've been affected by suicide personally, or you simply want to better understand how to support others, regardless of why you're here, we're glad you're here. So let's work together to break the stigma, encourage connection, and create a world where no one feels that suicide is their only option. Suicide. The act of intentionally taking one's own life. It is a permanent solution to a temporary problem. The act of intentionally taking one's own life. What could be so horrible, you might ask, that one would even contemplate, let alone carry out the act? That is the question. That if we were ever able to answer that question, then we could put an end to these tragedies. Let's explore. Suicide affects people of all ages, genders, backgrounds, regardless. Suicide does not discriminate, regardless of social economic status, education level. It does not matter. So it's very important to address mental health issues early and provide support to those who may be struggling. And oh, by the way, don't think this is just a community problem or a state problem or the United States, one country. No, this is a global problem. According to the World Health Organization, 2023, 700 people died by suicide worldwide. 700,000 people. This is more than the population, the whole population of Wyoming. It is more than the entire population of Vermont. And it is also more than the entire population of Washington, D.C., the District of Columbia. And that's according to the 2020 census. The population of those two states and the District of Columbia. 700,000 people die by suicide each year. Age group. Suicide is the fourth leading cause of death among 15 to 29-year-olds. Gender. While men are 3 to 4 times more likely to die by suicide, women are more likely to attempt it. And the most common method in the United States is a firearm, approximately 50%. Let's talk about some of the key aspects of suicide. That mental health connection. Mental illnesses like depression, bipolar disorder, post-traumatic stress syndrome, disease, a disorder, whichever you care to call it, PTSD, schizophrenia. They are major contributors to suicidal thoughts and behaviors. Again, they are major contributors to suicidal thoughts and behaviors. Risk factors. Some common risk factors include the mental health disorders, substance abuse, trauma or abuse, social isolation, loneliness, major life changes or crisis, such as financial problems, relationship breakdowns, death of a loved one, impulse, exposure to violence, access to firearms, access to medications. Again, loss, acute loss, or rejection. Bullying, victims of cyberbullying, sextortion, the feeling of hopelessness or helplessness. Family history of suicide attempts or family history of suicide. Just on last week, I heard of a case where a young lady, senior in high school, took her own life. And just 3 years earlier, her parents had taken their own lives. You see how that family history plays out? That is very important in prevention. There are other factors as well. Suicidal ideation, thinking about it, or planning a suicide. Of course, it doesn't always result in an actual attempt. However, it is definitely a serious sign that intervention is needed. And as stated earlier, it's preventable. Suicide is preventable with timely intervention. We need that support and that treatment. Crisis helplines, mental health services, just open conversation about the emotional struggles play critical roles in prevention. We go hush hush. I don't know how many cases of death by suicide have not been reported or not talked about, kept hush hush because of the stigma of what did they do to him, her? What happened? And people have a tendency, some have a tendency to be very quiet about a loved one having taken their own life. But again, it is preventable with the early detection, number one, early detection, and as well as providing that support and that treatment. Unfortunately, that stigma of mental health is holding so many of us back from seeking the help that we need. They have counseling services in schools, in the community, even you can do it via phone, you can do it Zoom call. Those services are available to you. If you talk to one counselor, one professional, and you're not filling them, you're not jabbing with them, or you feel like they're not helping, please, by all means, go to another one. Go to someone you can trust. Seek help from sources that you do trust. As we come to the close of today's session, of today's episode on suicide awareness, first of all, I just want to thank you. Thank each and every one of you for joining this important conversation. Suicide is a very complex issue, but it's one that we can confront together by staying informed, supporting one another, and fostering an environment where it's okay to ask for help. It is okay to not be okay, and seek the help that you so much need. In our next episodes, we will continue to explore suicide awareness and prevention. We will look at targeted groups. We will look at veterans, mental health struggles, their risk to suicide. Teenagers will also look at the bullying aspect of the suicide. So please, if you or someone you know is struggling, remember that you are not alone. There are people ready to listen, whether it's a friend, family member, or a professional. Please don't hesitate to reach out to the crisis hotline, such as the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline. That number is 988. 988. Or you can text hello. Text the word hello to 741-741 for immediate support. Again, there are agencies out there. There are people you can reach out to 24/7. But by continuing to talk openly about mental health and suicide, we can make a real difference in saving lives. Together, we can break the silence, reduce the stigma, and offer hope to those who need it most. Teaching high school, being around teenagers, many walked through my door, sat at my desk, sat in front of me, and expressed how they were feeling hopeless. They were feeling helpless. They were down. We never know what a person is going through. A simple smile. Hello, how are you? Just take the time to listen. Take the time to listen so that we can make a difference in these people's lives, possibly saving their lives. Thank you again for being part of this crucial conversation. And please take care of yourself and others. Until next time, stay safe, stay connected, and remember, there's always hope. I am your hostess, E. Jones Blacksher. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the podcast, Bullying Reported Please. Until next time.